you're late. You're late.
Does that relate to your
My
internal assumptions?
My internal assumption of... I mean, we literally just got in position.
Hello!
No, why didn't... It has a stand.
Oh, yeah.
The phone itself has a stand.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing it on the phone instead of the computer because it has better camera quality.
Yep.
Also, hi, it's just us.
Yeah, it's just us today. Mom and Dad are in the car right now, and they said they might join from the car as, like, people watching, which would be
really fun.
Really funny.
There's obviously no one here yet, so...
Yeah. All right, well... Oh, we just got an email about our channel.
We went live. Yes, so... Happy
we should
Mother's Day.
Yeah, Happy Mother's Day.
To all
the mothers out there.
There's a thing on the screen that's right on your face. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
All the people who have been mothers, who want to be mothers, those who want to and can't, we love you guys. Yeah, let's introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, hi. We are the children, well, 2 of the 3 children.
Mm-hmm. Of Mike and Eileen, but you didn't say your name.
I know.
Oh,
I assumed you would go first.
Okay.
You're the oldest.
I'm Aubin Ella, and I'm Aubin Ella, and this is my sister.
Hi. I have so many names.
Yeah.
I'm Mari May, and then Wonderland. I do multiple things.
Yeah, but I also just call her Ella.
Yes, I'm also Ella.
So,
to my friends, I am Ella. To my enemies, I am also Ella.
So, let's get right to it.
Yeah, so...
We're going to talk about what we've been learning about recently, just processing in our own lives. And when we were brainstorming about what we should talk about, because it was just left up to us, we came up with different things, but they go really well together. So my idea was to talk about the ideas of conscious loving, and
a book by
Gay Hendricks and Catherine K. something, his wife.
A name.
It starts with a K, and
names.
I was really close. I heard it so many times today, but it's okay. And I also, because we're making a garden outside, just kind of the metaphor of building up and tending to and being patient with a garden, kind of as a metaphor for relationships and mental health.
I feel like we have a really interesting angle with the camera.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yes.
Like that.
Gosh. No, because then our foreheads are getting cut off.
Here. Let's back it up a little bit. Alright.
Yeah. And then my idea was, because what God's been teaching me specifically is about dreams, because I have really big dreams with pretty short, relatively, timelines, and just, like, understanding and utilizing the fact that God does have the best plan and will provide the best way and he's not gonna ever give you an okay result. Just like all the things that go along with that.
Yeah.
So there's our little
overview
of what we're gonna talk about.
Okay, so how do you think, though, what you said connects, like, meshes with conscious loving?
Well, I mean, what I have planned and, like, just life in general always has relationships between people.
Yeah.
And you're never going to not deal with being surrounded by people unless you, like, live alone in a tiny
In that
house.
case, you're having a relationship with yourself as well.
Yeah, you're always going to have someone, even if it's just you and your poltergeist. And God's there too.
Yeah.
If you want him. And so, yeah, and also having a conscious, loving relationship with God.
Yeah.
Like just being honest and being,
Wow, I hadn't really thought about it like that, but that's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, God's another being that has relationships specifically with you.
Yeah.
And so treating him in an honest and respectful way.
Yeah. So I realized that we've been saying conscious loving a bunch, but
We haven't
haven't
really
explained
said
what that
it
is.
means.
So there are like 6 main commitments that are a part of conscious loving, and I'm going to try and remember them all because I couldn't find them because I'm listening to the audiobook
It's
and I
really
don't
hard
have
to
a physical
find
copy.
stuff.
So the commitment to being close, the commitment to being independent, and that's all I have written down. But it's also
We're gonna start with
the
the
commitment
first two.
to having fun, the commitment to taking. Oh, the last one is the most important one, and it's taking responsibility for how you live your life and what you feel. They say like taking responsibility for creativity because you create your life, and if you're constantly
Relying on someone else to create your world.
yes, that leads to a ton of problems, and like in your own mind and especially in your relationship, it leads to a bunch of power struggles and
and fear.
a lot more dependence. So the opposite of conscious loving is unconscious loving, and
Well, it's not exactly unconscious loving. It's like unconscious mutual existence.
yeah,
But that's really, really long.
yeah. So how they say it in the book is codependent and co-committed. Co-committed is the good one, and codependent is the bad one.
Like codependent, you can't live apart, and you can't live without their respect or appreciation or like even just their
validation.
physical presence. Whereas co-commitment is like you love all those things, but you don't
need them to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting in relationship, like if we apply that to God, because I think humans
do actually need God.
Yeah. And I think you can live fairly successfully without consciously
loving God,
but maybe let's see how that like continues to keep popping up as we talk about it.
On.
Yeah. So
I mean, any relationship with God is obviously going to be incredibly different to a relationship with a human,
because different
levels,
different beings,
existence.
So yeah.
What are the others?
Okay, hold on. How many do I have? Being close, being independent, having fun, creating your reality. That's 4. I got 2 more.
So close. Here, I'm just gonna look it up.
It's like a big part of the book. I don't know if this is one of the main commitments, is feeling your feelings and not shutting them down or lying about them. I think one of the commitments might be being honest. I know that relates to being close, so I might have gotten those confused. Yeah. So that gets us to 5, but I can't remember.
How do you spell conscious?
CONCIOUS. Yeah, it's an N. Okay, what if we do how it relates to our human relationships first, and then afterward do...
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go through the first 2 that we already have. So commitment to being close. I think this is kind of the establishing one that you find in a lot of self-help books or processes, and it's like, do you actually want to make this work. Like, because if you don't actually care, then there's no point in putting in all this work. Because the first step is caring enough to try. I remember in Chris Beat Cancer, his square one thing, the first question he asks is, do you want to live? Like, do you want to
Get better.
Do you want to keep living? And he was like, that's a personal question. You don't have to say yes. Chris Beat Cancer Square One is about healing from cancer. Which that question just totally threw me. Anyway, but that's a whole nother
because
can
I
of
don't
worms.
think that people understand how much their subconscious desires influence everything about
their subconscious choices.
Yeah, like all of there's so much that's connected to it.
Yeah.
Like very recently, I've started getting up at 7 and exercising, which is very, very weird if you ever have known me before. I used to usually get up at around 10 and spend.
Maybe later.
I'm homeschooled, so I would spend most of the day in bed. I would eat occasionally. I would draw a lot. I would do some schoolwork. But I realized recently that the subconscious reason why I was doing that was because I was afraid of getting better. And I was afraid of not being who I was and changing into someone else. And not letting myself be me in different things. Through different actions.
Okay, so can you keep talking about that?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so what was the problem with that idea?
Well,
what made that a bad idea?
It forced me to maintain my boxes. Basically, it forced me into very, very unhealthy rhythms that I could tell were creating long-term problems. And not only just physical problems, because I was experiencing muscle atrophy and my joints now click, but also just mental problems. I would spend a lot more time being depressed or not having any motivation. Now I just randomly am I want to exercise, and I'm why do you want to exercise? And I'm I don't know.
Yeah.
And just letting myself be me, but be a better me. We're gonna move the camera 7 times.
We'll see how it goes. Is that better? I think so. We'll keep talking.
Because I just assumed that I would be a different person if I was better. Which is a really sad way to think about the world, but I think it's a way that a lot of people do. And I think it's really harmful, not just for yourself, but for any relationship you have. Because if you don't let yourself grow, then the people around you will never experience your growth and never be able to have a different relationship with you.
Yeah. I mean, because you are both in a relationship.
Oh yeah, I looked up the points.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Awesome. It was definitely also hard. Oh, here we go. Being close, developing as an individual, revealing yourself fully. Okay, so being honest was separate from being close. Empowering others, owning 100% responsibility for your reality, and having a good time.
Yes.
There we go. Ooh, let's leave that here. Okay, so what was the problem with that? It was
I wasn't developing as an individual. I wasn't.
Which makes it really hard to empower others because you can't.
If I'm not empowered myself.
You can't really empower other people.
I wasn't being close. I was separating a lot from everyone. I wasn't owning 100% responsibility for my reality. I was very much so why is this happening and why hasn't this done anything? And I wasn't having a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, this wasn't like 100% of the time
Yeah.
I was doing all these things. It was like a good portion of my routine fell into
Yeah.
all of these things.
And so I kind of, do you want to talk about
No.
the like, so the not wanting to change is one reason, but what's the like emotional reason behind that? Because not wanting to change isn't really an emotion.
Yeah.
And the reason for doing something is an emotion in general.
Well, I think with a lot of people, my boundaries were a lot of my identity. It was just basically I didn't want to lose my identity, which is actually, I think, really sad because I didn't love my identity. But it was mine, and it was something I had. Like, just recently, we went to Carowinds, which is a roller coaster park on the edge of North Carolina and South Carolina. And while we were there, I now like really like roller coasters. And I was scared of that because I had never liked roller coaster. That wasn't a part of my identity. It was actually the opposite of my identity. Like, as a person, I was like, no, I don't like roller coasters. That's just who I am. I also like don't like spicy foods, but now I've been eating more spicy foods, and I actually really like it. I mean, I don't.
We're waiting her over slowly.
The pain is not amazing.
But the taste
is
pain.
good. I like the
It's
taste.
good.
I don't like the pain.
Yeah.
Maybe I will one day. And so I think it was also I didn't want to be Aubin. I mean, I absolutely love Aubin, but Aubin is much more responsible and structured, and she wakes up early, she exercises regularly, she works hard on all of her projects. So I didn't want my personality, and especially I didn't want people to see me and be like, oh, so you've started being like Aubin. Because then I would feel like I was just like a copy of someone else's identity.
You were afraid of comparison.
Yeah, which was something really scary to me. Because I was constantly comparing myself. And it had never brought me joy. Don't shift the ankle again. Aubin, just don't sit on your knees. That's the problem.
No. See, just gonna see if I can get more height. We make things better. There we go.
You say that every time.
I know. It keeps getting better, though. Eventually, we'll have a little...
It'll just be our chins. We'll be like, hello. So, as we were saying... yeah.
So, I'm kind of getting fear.
Yeah, it was just
fear of
a lot of
comparison
fear.
And fear of losing yourself.
Which is not... I wouldn't actually consider fear a real emotion. Because I think it's the absence of all the other emotions.
So that would mean our base is fear.
No. Our base is every emotion. I feel like it's like light. Like, when you're shining a light, and you have like a red, a green, and a blue transparent thing, you can put it over the light, and it will change the color. And if you put all of them, it will be white, or like just back to normal plain light. And I think that fear is like none of the light, like just a complete absence of all the light.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that. I don't want to say. I don't know. I gotta think about it. It's very interesting.
And again, we're people, and we don't have exactly the same.
No, and we obviously don't have anything
theories
figured out. So
yeah. I don't know. Maybe in like 3 weeks, I'll be like, "What? Why did I say that? That was so ridiculous."
Yeah.
So yeah. on to the next one. I feel like we kind of covered all those then
Yep.
with that statement.
I don't know.
There you go.
Okay.
I was about to say out loud my password to my
Yeah.
iPad, which didn't seem like a great idea.
Okay. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, Aubin.
Yeah.
You gotta be honest. You gotta be brutally honest with yourself. And with all of our many zero watchers.
Okay, I think I was taking 100%. I was taking actually. Well, where do we start?
It's a big mentality.
Okay, for taking responsibility for your reality, I think I was subconsciously doing a lot of projecting because I did not love myself. And I believed that if I were honest with other people, they would also not like me. Because
another classic.
Even as much as I knew me, I didn't like me. And I think in general that led to a bunch of it led to trying hard at a lot of things. So I think my motivator was also fear, but it had the exact opposite
effect.
Effect as yours.
Mine was do nothing. Like
mine was do everything and try to do it as perfectly as you can, as fast as you can, so that you can move on to something else. Because there's a never-ending thing.
Because
list of things.
Moving. Again, your head is.
Should I just?
You just keep moving. I'm fine. I've been fine this entire time. You just need to sit still. Be still and know that God is God. Well, I mean, we are alive, so maybe don't be too still.
Don't be too still. All right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. It was good. And
do everything perfectly.
Yeah, do everything perfectly. And when something wasn't going perfectly, I immediately considered that it was my fault. And that actually, they talk about in the book taking more than 100% responsibility, and that's unhealthy. Because part of having a co-committed relationship is allowing both people to grow it as individuals and empowering others. So
because if
when I take more than 100%,
then it only leaves them with less than 100%.
Yeah, like then anyway.
Then they become dependent on you. Because they've gotten so used to you taking more. And you get dependent because you feel wrong if you're not taking more than 100.
Yes.
So you need their lack of ability to feel satisfied.
Which is just super toxic.
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Being close. Because I hated myself so much, it made it hard to be close with other people. And I mean, when I say hating myself, those are like really strong words, and I'm not saying they're not true, but it's not like it manifested in super obvious ways or it like totally consumed my life. Like I've had a lot of fun and I've had great.
Yeah, we're not saying like we were just like
we were just nothing
I was just
but
laying in bed all the time and I was doing like everything in the entire world.
Yeah. When we say these like very true things
in very broad
in very
ways.
Specific like direct terms, it can lead to
had the specific broad.
When we say these very true things in such point blank terms, it could give you the impression that this is
like what we're dealing with
rules
all
our
the time.
Entire reality. I deal with this whenever I journal. I'm like, I'm writing down this thing that is very true and I need to write about, but it makes it seem like my entire life is dependent on and like entirely consumed by this one thing.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
The terms that I'm using are just
yeah. But at the same time, it is also true. So, and it's good to recognize what I was doing.
Yeah.
And fully look it in the eyes. And then another thing that I love so much about conscious loving is instead of doing anything else, what the book says is to just love that aspect of you, but realize its imperfections, which is so freeing. It's really the best.
Another thing that goes off of that is that you can never hate a habit away.
Yeah.
You can only,
If you
try and like push it
beat
away.
a habit out
yeah,
of you, that really doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Because, so the first step to breaking a habit from Atomic Habits is to make it obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is to make it, like, uncomfortable. Like, making the habit difficult.
Difficult, yeah.
Yeah. And then making what you actually want to do. Like,
Easy.
if you have trouble going to sleep at night, or, like, just getting to bed, then make... How would you make...
I was about to say, put your bed right now. Just move your bed to the kitchen. You're just like eating
Just
one
make
minute
it
and
easier
sleep
to
the
get
next.
in bed, like I don't know, get like night clothes that you actually like wearing. I don't know, like something.
Make it
fun, make it
interesting.
rewarding in itself.
Yes, rewarding. That was one of the things.
But
We read that book a while ago. So.
We did. It was a long time ago. Probably time for a reread.
Yeah.
But if you hate a habit and all you're doing is hating it,
you're still thinking about it.
You're still thinking about it, and
you're still obsessing over it.
It's just a feedback loop. So it doesn't matter what the feedback is. It's just a feedback loop.
Yeah, because if you're like, oh my
you're
gosh,
still
I love this habit,
and
then
you're still
think about it,
doing it.
But if you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this habit, you'll still do it because you're thinking about it. Like either way, if you're thinking about it enough, you will most likely do it. There's this ADHD trick where you just point at something that you need to do until you do it, because like eventually your brain's just gonna be like, okay, well,
I love it.
It's so annoying that we have to sit here and point at it. It's more interesting to actually do my laundry.
Yeah.
So it's like if you spend long enough just thinking about something, you will eventually start working towards it.
Yeah.
Or if not even just thinking about it, like thinking about it in a possible light.
Yeah.
Like I think so many people are like, well, I'm never going to do or be or whatever. Which is, it's not like thinking that something's bad, because often when you're thinking about something that's bad, it's completely in your power, and you know it's in your power. But when you're saying something's impossible, it's like the exact opposite. It's something you want to do, but you can't, or you supposedly can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've built up this structure of a part of your identity is that you can't do that.
Yeah. And that's one, not empowering yourself, and
it's not taking responsibility.
Usually when you say something is impossible, you probably subconsciously like it to be impossible for other people as well. To reinforce this idea that it is impossible, because it's true. If it's truly impossible, then it's usually ubiquitously impossible.
Yeah. Like if it's physically impossible, then like no one can do it. Because like you're like, well, I will never be able to fly like Superman. Well, yes, that is true, because we're not there yet.
No.
I feel like you had more to say. Or like something else to say.
Yeah. It's just hard to organize thoughts. Let's try and relate the points to God. Okay. Being close. I think we should also do like our relationship with God.
Yeah.
So the first one is being close. Like, do you actually
I
want to be? Because that's a genuine question. Like, are you really like, if you are afraid of God, you might need to consider this question. If you think that God is terrible, definitely consider the question.
Or just wrong in some way. You might be like, he's not terrible, but I mean, he's blah 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 blah. Or you might be just like afraid, for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
I think with my personal relationship with God, first of all, I do not read my Bible. Like ever. First of all, reading's really difficult for me. I am dyslexic and don't like reading.
It's okay. You don't need to justify it.
Yeah, it's just like kind of boring for me. But I am close to God because, first of all, I talk to God all the time, just randomly. I'll be like, "Hey, God, I don't understand this," and God's like, "Cool, let's talk about it." And I think just the more you let God be a part of your life and a part of your like family in a way, the easier it will get to talk to him, and the easier it will get to relate to him, or like not rely, but like kind of rely, like let him do his work through you and with you and for you. What about you?
For being close?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, in my mind, being close and revealing yourself fully are two really related ideas.
Like being really honest in a like.
Yeah, because I don't think there's closeness without honesty.
Yeah.
Like spiritual or emotional closeness.
I mean, there is physical closeness.
Yeah, there's
like
physical
you could lie to
closeness
someone
with
and be
that.
like, I love you.
Yeah. I guess part of being close is allowing allowing God to do what he can. I think part of being close also is allowing God to be God.
Yeah, just
because like another extension of projecting is
trying to change
God, and if we're
or just
and that probably relates to another one of these points, but I think I have problems with projecting onto God, like, I hate me, you gotta hate me, or like I feel like I didn't do enough, so you must feel like I didn't do enough, or
something I did, I feel like I feel is bad, and so you must be real disappointed in me for doing or being like this.
Yeah, or also the emotional capacity of God, which is something I don't think that church talks a lot about. I don't have a boundless emotional capacity. And it's actually fairly limited because I have found myself suppressing a lot of emotions, which makes my emotional range in myself and also my capacity
to help
others smaller.
Yeah,
but God's not like that. So if I'm angry and trying to hide that from God, futile effort, but whatever.
But an effort's a lot of people constantly are doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's very common.
That's not allowing God to be the infinite, loving, and emotionally capable being that he is. God can take my anger or my sadness or whatever it is.
Or even your joy.
And my joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing, is that people so often upper limit that they don't even realize that they're doing it.
Upper limiting is the idea that you can only experience so much happiness.
Or so much anything good.
Anything good. And once you hit that level, you usually subconsciously self-sabotage.
So you do like a little spiral.
Yeah. The how they describe it in The Big Leap, I think, is like a glass ceiling. You hit it, and you can see that you should be happy up there in the sky beyond your window, but you can't get there because there's a glass window between you.
A glass window you made.
A glass window you made, so you also have to break the glass window. And that is not one of the points, but I feel like it should be. But it's kind of having a good time.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of... I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet. I think they're going through the points individually, and having a good time is the last one on this one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Developing as an individual.
Ella? Oh, well, yeah, definitely. That's basically what I've been dealing with in the last couple weeks. So, particularly with the biggest thing is, how am I still me while I'm changing so much? Because there are things that I really love about me. Like, I love making art, and I love that I do make art, and I love that I spend time working on something that I love. Which is something that I did almost all the time before. Like, I would spend most of my day either consuming content or creating content. And now that I actually work and do stuff that I should be doing, I have a lot less time where I can do both those things, which means I'm having this really interesting thing with how I'm letting myself develop and letting myself let God show me how I'm supposed to be developing, because I know that God wants me to create, and I know that God wants to share who he is through me, and through art that I make, and through writing that I make. And I know that I also have other stuff that I really need to be doing, and that are necessary for the bigger, greater plans that both God and I have. So it's just like learning.
Sorry, there's something.
No, they're good. It's just learning through God's teaching what the balance is there. You look like you're crying.
Oh, sorry, did I?
No, you're good.
Okay. I wonder if that's a deep subconscious response, because that's what I've been learning about, and I'm like, what could be causing this? Or it's just dust.
I think it's dust. There's a lot of dust.
We've had our windows open, so. Developing as an individual. Mostly recently, that's been feeling my own emotions to the extent that I actually have them.
I've been trying to help Aubin with that.
Yeah. You're doing a great job.
Mostly by being like, Aubin, stop lying to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack in one point. Yeah.
Are you gonna...
How do I do this? Okay, so I think it was the fear, the reason for suppressing my emotions, because that's the action, but what's the motivation? Is definitely fear. And I think there are a lot of reasons, so many, but one of the top ones that I can think of right now are fear of like being wrong, because I feel like often when I'm angry, I can totally see why I shouldn't be angry, but it doesn't change the fact that I am angry. So I try and suppress the emotion rather than going through it. You said something really great. What was it?
I say a lot of great things.
I know, I have so many quotes from Ella. It's like, you don't get over an emotion, you work through it.
Yeah.
And
you have to hit that bounce.
That was the other one. You gotta hit to bounce. And like, I think my, like, the emotional ball, I guess, because that would be the ball.
Well, no, you're the ball. The wall is the emotion.
I was about to say the opposite. I'm the...
No, you're not the wall. You're the moving thing. You're the living, breathing, moving thing. Anyway.
But I feel like if you're the wall...
No, what my example is...
Okay, you say how you think of it, and then I'll say how I think of it.
Okay, so there's a wall. It's a specific emotion. It could be any emotion. And so...
Okay, I do see... It works both ways. But
it doesn't.
Okay, keep going.
Anyway, so you are this lovely, living, moving thing.
Yep.
And so then there's this emotion. It can be any emotion. It could be happiness. It could be just sadness or anger. But if you just try and avoid that wall, you're just gonna roll into it, and then you're gonna get stuck there. Because if you're rolling slowly, you're just gonna like get stuck at the bottom of this wall.
Yeah.
But if you hit it, if you bounce
fully,
into it,
if you fully
just
hit
go
it with
straight
as
into it,
much power as you actually have,
then you will truly, truly feel it, and then you will truly bounce, and you'll be in the next emotion, and it could be the same emotion, or it could be a different, it could be the exact opposite emotion, but you're never going to run out of emotions, and you're never going to run out of chances to see those emotions. But if you get stuck on one, then you're never going to see the rest of them, which is really, really sad, actually.
Well, and I think what I would do is I would try and like hover.
Like around the emotion?
Like I would try so hard not to hit that I would just hover right there. Just like
You're not touching
trying
it.
trying so hard not to
It's
feel
like
this
you win
thing.
roll and then boing.
And that just leads to staying close to it.
Mm-hmm. So you're not technically in the emotion.
You're not
like
the emotion,
you're
but
not
you're so close to it.
mad. You're just annoyed. You're just
Yeah. I think the other one, besides making mistakes, was hurting other people with my emotions.
yeah.
Like I didn't want to tell
the-
you that I was angry with you because I didn't want to hurt you. And I could also see how I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was realistically probably taking more than 100% of the blame. So that led to suppressing emotions, which led to not being honest with you, and that, how did that make you feel?
Really, really annoyed. And I actually feel annoyed. So I was honestly and truly annoyed. It was just like one wall of annoyance to the next. I was just bouncing all the way around. Because I spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time learning how to read people because I'm actually not great at just like guessing what people are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend a lot of energy, mostly subconsciously, just learning all of their like tics and all their emotions and all their little things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could so easily tell that Aubin was feeling something and feeling a very specific thing, but not sharing it because she felt bad about sharing it, which annoyed me because it basically meant that I was wrong, and it also meant that Aubin was lying. So
yeah,
it was just frustrating in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it also meant that we couldn't like work it out.
Yeah,
like we couldn't work through it. Like I don't know. Once we've opened up,
yeah, I learned so much more about Aubin.
And I learned about myself, and I learned about you.
Yeah,
and we're learning how to live in a way that is beneficial for each of us and our relationship together. Because we're so very different. We're so very, very different.
Very different.
I don't know if you can see our
Tell?
clothes,
Just maybe
but we're
my-
always opposite. Even when
It's
we
really
occasionally switch
Yeah,
aesthetics,
like whenever
it's
I
always
wear,
opposite.
Whenever I wear like dark,
Ella's wearing a
moody
pink
clothes.
sweatshirt and pink
shorts.
and I'm wearing a black shirt and black leggings right now.
And I'm wearing all baggy clothes. You're wearing much tighter clothes. And like even because we often like every week we go to the library to hang out with our friends, and so every time I get in the car, I'm like, wow, somehow we have the exact same opposite. Like it's always the opposite, which is so fun.
It's a good representation of our like emotional wiring as well. It's usually very different.
Very different. As you can tell by all of our reactions, like
I thought of the
all
wall
of our bad
one
habits.
way. Oh yeah, now it's my turn to explain how I thought of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so the wall is you, and
but that
you
just
have
means you're stagnant.
a magnetic, or not. Okay, you see this emotion coming towards you, and you're like, no, I don't want to feel that. So you push the ball away, but then it's kind of just hovering there because the ball is coming towards you, and you can't change that. But you can change how hard you push. So the ball is just hovering really close to you, and probably there's another one coming and another one coming, and you try and push all of them away, So you're just surrounded by all these rubber balls flying towards you.
You're saying this like you're describing a nightmare that you've had.
Yes, it was nightmarish.
You see, but if you just let
But
that
if you just
first
let
one
it,
hit,
if you just let it hit,
then
it goes away,
yeah.
and then you have enough emotional stamina to deal with the next one. There was this great. I think it was like from an Irish movie. It was an Irish animated movie.
Sorry, that's
Or
just-
Scottish something.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah!
And there was because we can't remember. It was like I
Wait,
couldn't
was it
remember
the
if it was
sea?
in a fever dream I had
it
or
was
something.
the Song of the Sea.
Song of the Sea. Okay.
We think it's Irish.
We think or Secret of Kells. It was one of those two.
And it's some Celtic
Something. And there's
might not be
this
Irish.
old lady who lives in a house.
I remember
And I
that
think
movie
I
so
lived
well.
this in a dream shortly after watching it. And the old lady bottles up all her emotions.
So she has just like
so
this
she has
whole,
this room, just rooms full of bottles. And
in the house, like
and
they
break the bottles, and then she's just crippled with emotions.
She has to feel all of them.
She has to feel all of them at the same time, and it's
terrifying.
It's terrifying.
You see, but if she had just felt them all,
yeah, at a time, she wouldn't have built up 50 years of emotions.
Yeah.
And to a much smaller extent, that was me. I mean, I wasn't like an 80-year-old woman. Imagine.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
We still have 4 left?
Yeah. Developing as an individual.
I feel like we kind of went over revealing yourself fully.
We kind of did. Empowering others.
Oh, yeah.
This one is fun because God is always doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like there's never a time when he's not trying to. It's not working maybe because you are thwarting him, but he's always trying.
And I think letting yourself be because everyone has an energy field. Like that's just a physical, factual thing. Like everyone has a, is it magnetic field? But anyway, it's based on, it centers around your heart, and it's based on your energy, like how you are feeling. And I think that that's a very special thing about the Holy Spirit, is that it actually just changes your energy field. And I've noticed this so often, because so many people that I meet, or like that meet my family in general, are just like, something about you guys is just so weird, and you guys are just awesome. And even if they don't say it out loud, they'll just like randomly like just, kind of just like be near me. Or like near Aubin, especially because she's more like outgoing. They'll just like kind of be like, I want this field of energy, because it's all the things. It's life. It's like, I think that also people interact with it when they're creating. Like it's just this energy of creation and life and movement and just joy. And there's a difference between joy and happiness. So joy, I've probably talked about this before, but joy is a state of being and happiness is an emotion. So if you spend your life searching for happiness, you're never going to find joy. You might find happiness, but joy is a completely different thing. Like, I think when people often say you can't buy happiness, what they mean is you can't buy joy. Because people are always like, well, I bought this thing that makes me really happy. It's like, yes, you bought happiness. Now, you can't take that into every situation and be joyful. But that's what God gives you. God gives you a state of being that is joyful, that is rich in kind of all the emotions. Like,
well, I think it validates all the emotions.
Yeah.
Like, we were designed to feel things.
Mm-hmm.
And so the space to feel them is the space to have our own choices. Because you can't really have real choices without emotions.
Yeah.
Because emotions are like, they're part of the consequences of your choices. So to fully have choice, you must fully have
Emotions.
the opportunity to have emotions.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that everyone still has emotions, even if they bottle it up. Because they
Yeah,
still have...
but that's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice to bottle it up. You're choosing not to choose or to feel.
Well, I don't even think that you're not feeling. I think that there's this very specific emotion that comes with bottling up your emotions.
Yeah.
It's like the feeling of the glass.
Yeah.
It's this very unique and frustrating feeling. Because you know that you were supposed to feel that thing. And you know that it's important to you and to the world. But you also know that it's hard, or it's heavy, or it's complicated, or it might cause problems.
Sorry, did you finish your thought?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just got to a part in the book where it said they are kind of putting out the idea that at the bottom of every emotion is love. Like once you get to once you fully experience sadness, you just hit, and now you can
bounce.
You can bounce, and I feel like that's true. Like when they said that, I was like, oh, that feels so true. Like, and maybe that's just because like allowing myself to be angry at you has actually led
to a deeper and more
loving relationship with you, and like I can finally stop feeling bad about being angry at you.
Yeah, no, because it is it's like, if you spend enough time with me, you're gonna get annoyed at me. And Aubin spends the most time with me out of anyone, so it's very natural that Aubin gets annoyed with me. But the problem was, and vice versa, but the problem was that Aubin wasn't getting annoyed.
Yeah,
which made me mad. I'm like, oh, I can't be mad for the both of us. What is this?
Yeah,
and I can't like see myself through your eyes and through your annoyance. So I can't learn what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That was the other thing. I wasn't... Okay, so it's almost been an hour. Oh my gosh. Dad was like, it's okay. You don't have to like worry about it. Just do a short thing. Well, here you go.
Hey, there's one person.
Hey, it's probably Dad.
Hi.
Let's see if we can... I don't know how to see comments. It's fine.
Or no.
We love you, Dad.
Or whoever.
Or Mom. We love you, Mom.
Turns out it's one of our friends.
Happy Mother's Day. Or it's one of our friends. We love you. That'd
be so funny. It's just like
Charlotte writes later, like, it was me.
It's Mom. Okay.
It's Mom. Oh, okay. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Where were we?
Where was I?
Being mad at me.
Being mad at you. Yes.
Yes, because you weren't letting me learn.
I wasn't. Okay, deals. That's what it was. Okay. Also, in Conscious Living, they talk about the deals you make in relationships, and one of the deals is, and they're all subconscious deals. Like nobody consciously is like, oh, if you agree not to look at my bad stuff, and I won't look at your bad stuff.
Trying to shake hands with yourself.
We will just have a really dishonest relationship with one another where we don't improve.
Which is what a lot of people do, because it's comfortable. It's not really comfortable, but it feels comfortable.
Another one is that I just got to the book in today is, my wants equals conflict, and that's like a personal conditioning one. So you don't express your. I know, right?
I think I'm dealing with that.
So you don't express your wants because that has
consequences for
everyone. But it doesn't necessarily lead to
problems.
Conflict, but in your mind, it's like my wants equals conflict.
Well, in my mind, it was always
or your wants equals conflict, and that's a bad. So that's a bad deal in a relationship, and it's a bad deal in your head.
Just in everything. What I was always dealing with was there's only a limited amount of supply. So if I receive what I want, then someone else is receiving a lack of what they want. Like, there's only so much money that goes around. That was always like my thought, which is a really sad way to think. And a really...
Just thinking about something you said to me the other night. Just keep going. Keep going.
A really like limiting thing to everyone, because if everyone thinks that they'll never have enough, then no one will.
Yeah.
You have something?
Oh, it was like scarce. I don't know, it was something dumb. Like I wouldn't use a piece of paper because I figured I could just remember it or something like that. And Ella was like, Aubin, scarcity is a mindset and you're living it.
No, it was poor.
Yeah.
Poor is a mindset and you're living it. Which is very true. I'm very great at saying awesome things to other people that apply to myself. Because it has been a mindset I was living. And so I was like, I think that was another thing that was causing me to be so, like, limited. It's like, well, I do have my iPad and Apple Pencil and bed. If I just live like that, then, hey, we don't even need to buy food for me. That was a problem. I wasn't eating.
Well, you would have ramen. I would
have
see Ella
ramen.
come down and she would make ramen.
Well, actually, I put a limit. I could only have ramen every other day.
That happened eventually.
Yeah, after I ate all my udon.
Yeah. Sad.
So, yep, I was surviving off of ramen, udon, and egg fried rice.
And whatever we had for dinner.
Yes,
which was usually
really good.
really good.
Really nice food. Anyway, yeah.
So what was that point?
Not
empowering
really sure.
others.
I feel like I think it was.
Yeah.
Ooh, next one. Just nice segue.
Owning 100% responsibility for your reality.
Yeah, that was.
That's what breaks down the deals. Like.
Yeah. If your deal is like, oh, we'll both not talk.
We'll both not talk about the things that we should fix.
Then
you're creating that reality, and then you will fully have to deal with the consequences of that reality.
It's like the classic, you made your bed, now you have to lie in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you make your life based around, I'm not going to improve, then cool. Don't know what you're expecting other than a stagnant life. And the exact opposite is like I think it's actually just taking joy in what you're doing. Because I think that when you make this agreement to not talk about it, neither of you are taking joy. You're obviously, if you don't want to talk about it, it's obviously something you won't take joy in. Whereas improving, you can actually have so much joy in that. You can have so much relief and excitement and inspiration through improving, which is something that I've been having a lot lately. Like, because I'm improving, I want to improve more. Like, it's addictive. It's like the more you get better, the more you want to get better. And I think it's really sad when people limit themselves to not improving.
Yeah. And I think in addition to making the deals and taking responsibility for the deals you're making, it's also taking responsibility for however you're feeling. What I see a lot, sometimes in myself, sometimes in other people, is basically playing the blame game where I don't need to take responsibility for how I'm feeling because you did it to me. Mm-hmm. Like, you made me angry. Like, when I was angry at you and I wasn't telling you about it, there wasn't, anything, I mean, there was something you could do, but, it was so much harder
because I
for you to just magically figure out what it was. And I wasn't telling you. Well, I was creating that reality for myself. I was like, you don't remember to do this, and that makes me so annoyed. But you were just I also don't help remind you or tell you that it bothers me that you don't.
It wasn't like, hey, this bothers me.
Yeah.
It was like
it was
like, hey, you forgot
also
to do this again.
My own reality.
And I think that's another difference, because it's like, hey, you forgot to do this again. Then you're building up this structure that, hey, you are the kind of person who forgets to do this in your own mind. about the other person. Like,
Oh, yeah. If you don't,
Ella just annoys me because she doesn't squeeze out the sponge when she thinks she's doing dishes. Which is something that I do, actually.
No, yeah.
I do not fill the Berkey very often, but I will improve.
Yep.
I will get better at filling the Berkey. We are over.
We're over 60.
Congratulations. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think but that extends to a whole bunch of emotional levels. Like, there's the, like, things happening, but there's also, like, you're never honest with me, and that's what you can perceive your reality as. But if you take responsibility for that and do something about it, because you've made the first commitment of being close, then and empowering other people, then you're going to talk about it. And what was my thing? You're not being honest with me. Is that what it was?
Or you not being honest with other people.
Yeah. Then you're going to take responsibility for your part in this and try and work it out. Yeah, this is one of my favorite points. It's
because
so important and life-changing.
Oh yeah, another thing that recently happened. So one of my really big dreams is that I really want to go to a foreign exchange high school in Japan, which is a insane dream because first of all, I have never done a full year of public school, and second of all, I'm not exactly conversational yet in Japanese. So yes, it would be a foreign exchange school, so I wouldn't have to take all my classes in Japanese or do like everything at school, and there would be people speaking a ton of different languages, but still I would be living in Japan, so going on the train and getting food and buying mangas would all be in Japanese. And so recently I was like, no, this is a stupid dream. It's my dream. It won't benefit anyone else. It's just like this thing that I want. And God was like, what if it's not just your dream? He's like, what if I have people waiting for you to come to Japan and come to that school and be their friend and be in a relationship with them and care about them and change their life? Like, what if I have a plan that involves your dream,
but is bigger
than you? I was like, whoa. That's because my main thing was like, it's just mine. And again, I had that mindset of, if I'm fulfilling my dream, then someone else, especially someone close to me, would have to give up their dream. Because it is such a big dream and such a like distant dream. Like, if I move to Japan, someone would have to move with me, and they would have to get a job there, and I would probably have to get a job there, and I might get stressed out and want to leave school and blah blah blah, and then it just might all be for nothing. But like then when God was just like, what if I have something bigger than you, but it needs you? I was like, that's so cool. It was an excellent feeling.
Yeah. When Ella said that yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, I got like little chills. Because I think our whole family has really big dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom's not here anymore. But.
And they're all not exactly.
No, I think they're all great dreams.
Yeah,
they're all wonderful
They're
dreams.
all amazing dreams, but they're not all exactly, connected.
We got a lot of dreams. I'm just thinking.
And they have a lot of different
aspects. Different layers. That's really important.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were going to say something? Oh, okay. And I think the other thing about the creating your own reality relating to dreams is like I don't know, you create your reality, so make decisions. Like, be responsible for making your own decisions. Like, sure, you're not conversational in Japanese yet,
Yeah.
but if you believe that you're responsible for creating your reality,
Yeah.
then you'll actually work on it.
Yeah,
And it will be fun. You'll enjoy it because...
Yeah, I mean, recently I got the Genki lesson book, and I have been, like, using it, which is another thing that I was really... another thing that was both connected to my identity and connected to my limitations was I have bad handwriting. And so when I was translating to Japanese, I was like, oh, I'm like learning both. I'm learning a new script, and second of all, I just have bad handwriting. And then I think you said something, and we were talking one time, and I was just like, oh, I'm making myself have bad handwriting. And because I also have the Genki workbook, I do a lot of writing. So I was like, I've gotten so much better at handwriting in the past 2 days, like way more than I have in the past 2 years of learning Japanese, because I've just been letting myself write. Another thing is that I keep my hand really tight. I'm actually not right-handed. I keep my hand really tight while writing, when I'm writing, not when I'm drawing. And so I was like, why is this? And it's just, again, connected to my subconscious. I'm bad at writing. Because when I was writing in Japanese, I was like, I'm writing like how I'm draw. Like, I was just letting myself write, which was such an amazing feeling. Because I think that connected to just subconsciously myself not letting me have my dreams. Because it's like, oh, well, I'm just so bad at writing. Why would I even want to go and, like, write stuff in Japanese?
Yeah. Well, and can I talk about the other thing?
Yeah.
The other idea. So, another thing that Ella said was that she didn't... You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. She didn't deserve to succeed in something if she...
Oh, yes. Yeah.
If she would fail in it.
Well, no, actually.
No?
It's basically how I thought of it. It's like, I take an entrance exam to something. Like, I take the entrance exam to writing in Japanese. So I started writing in Japanese. And it's terrible for no shocking reason. And then I'm like, well, I have failed the entrance exam, so now I can improve. It's like I've been locked out of getting better at handwriting school, which is just so sad.
Yeah.
And that connected to so many things. That connected to exercising, because I was never athletic, so I was like, well, I can't exercise. Or like, even just cleaning was a big one. Eating. I'm not great at making decisions, with eating specifically. And so I was like, well, never gonna get better at making decisions when it comes to eating, which is so specific and random, but apparently that was what my psychology was at. So...
Well, and, like, if you make a mistake,
Yeah.
then you're like,
well, there it goes.
There goes that. So, but that's like the opposite of taking responsibility for your reality.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I acted like it was a school that I was going to, instead of, like, me just getting better at handwriting. It's like, well, I've been locked out of the league of better handwriters, instead of just like, oh, it's just me. It's me and a pencil. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a long-standing and really bad psychology that I had.
Yeah. Darn it, I had some segue.
Well, the final thing is having fun.
Well, yeah, but it was related to... that was part... The idea was kind of related to that psychology was part of everything. Like, you kind of pick up a thread and then you pull it and then you find that it's everywhere. It was a really good point, but I think you kind of went over it. I guess the difference is when you turn that off. Like,
yeah. Wait.
I make my that's what it was. It was aligning your subconscious and your conscious, which is another idea
Yes.
talked about in conscious loving. It's your subconscious is very powerful. It makes you do all sorts of things that you don't even realize. It's
Like
making
laying
you
in
do,
bed all the time.
like laying in bed all the time. And then the conscious is very good at like
directing.
But the conscious isn't as.
It's like the subconscious is the boat, and the conscious is like a
is
little
the-
tiny
is the
person
steer.
who's trying to steer it.
Yeah. So you need them to be aligned, and when they're not aligned is when you have problems. When your mindset is, if I fail, I don't deserve to improve. Try again. And you're also like, man, I need to get better at handwriting. You're never those things are at odds.
You're not gonna be able to beat the ship.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah. But once you like sit down with the ship and have a good heart to heart
with the ship, you can
progress.
Redirect the ship, and you go in the same direction.
Yeah.
And I guess
maybe the ship isn't the best.
And for like a spiritual example, it's like God's trying to bless you.
Yeah.
And you don't think you deserve it, so you're constantly thwarting him.
You're like, nah.
Or some other reason you don't like God, you like earning things, so the free gift.
You need to feel validated.
There's a plethora of reasons, and you can usually find one. Those things are at odds.
And it limits you significantly to not having a good time,
which is the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I've been realizing, because I actually love learning Japanese. It's a fascinating language.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's amazing. Sometimes annoying, like every language. Wakarimashita.
Instead of wakarimasu.
Yeah.
Why?
Anyway, yeah. But and also like exercising, like I think it can all these points can also just relate, not maybe all of these points, but they can
all be fun.
Yeah. Or just
being close can be fun. Developing
fun.
as an individual is fun. Revealing yourself fully can be fun. Empowering others can be really fun. Owning your reality can also be fun.
And like just letting yourself have joy throughout all these things.
Yeah.
And letting God give you joy throughout all these things.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing that the book talks about a lot is being honest about your emotions, and I've been practicing this. So I just had an emotion, and I'll tell you about it. And this is a great example of what we do. We've been doing a lot in the last few days.
It's actually pretty great. We'll just come to sometimes pause and be like, okay, I felt this.
Here's what I just felt. So I just looked at the clock and I was like, oh my gosh, 73 minutes. That's too long. We should stop. We should stop talking.
We've wasted so much
time, viewers. And I'm also like, did we do it right? Like, I want to go, like, text mom because I'm worried about if we did it right.
We probably did it. The microphone's not on. No, it is on. But don't worry, I checked that halfway through. Okay. I was like, wait, the microphone's not on.
What if we like put a filter on it and there was
so funny? It's like the classic,
it's like a
an
bubble
echo
mirror.
Filter. Everything we say is like reverb and echo.
It's slowed and reverb. Everything sounds.
Or it's in like the wobbly building, like
the Lord has given us more. So yeah, I just had like a little anxiety
feeling,
panic, not attack, but like a little stab of anxiety.
Yeah, but if you're still here,
I don't. Right?
I'm amazed. Thank you.
Thank you for still being here and listening. Or if you skip to the end,
hey,
maybe go back and listen. There's some great stuff, I think.
No, there are some great stuff.
There are great things. There is great stuff.
English also difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the other thing is placing the feeling in your body, so it doesn't feel like way bigger than you, and like out of your control.
Yeah.
I felt a
In your tummy.
a tightness in my stomach, and occasionally throughout, I think I would lean forward, kind of like
Protecting
clenching
it.
my stomach muscles.
That's why you're touching the top.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah. I just need to relax.
Yeah.
So there we go. Thanks for joining the live.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day, or whenever you watch
Happy,
this.
yeah.
Happy
Happy
whatever
Tuesday.
Happy whatever day it is for you. So,
Thanks for hanging out with us.
yeah.